We actually have a bit of good news. There was this viral video put out by CBS showing a bunch of spring breakers laughing and gloating, saying, "We don't care about the coronavirus. We are not going to be stopped. It is Miami, party on." Everybody got mad. In fact, I believe it was a university in Florida that announced that 5 students who went on this spring break excursion tested positive for COVID-19. But one of the people in that video has issued a long apology. It's a legit apology. It is a respectable apology. Dude, you deserve mad respect for this. And I want to do a bit of a more positive story, but I got to admit, we do have some bad news because there's another story here. Potentially, younger people are at risk. So check it out. You have all these young people who think they're invincible, right? This dude said, his name is Brady Sluder, "Don't be arrogant and think you're invincible like myself," said the now infamous spring breaker. The dude's apology is legit. I'll read it to you. But he was wrong about what he said. You know, he said, if I get corona, I get corona. A 17-year-old died, tested positive for corona, and they think he may have died of the coronavirus. They're not entirely sure. Some officials have already walked it back a little bit, but it may be the case. Don't think you're invincible. Young people have died. It was a doctor in China, 34 years old, who died. Now, it mostly does affect people with pre-existing conditions, and the most at-risk group are senior citizens, but you're not invincible. Check this out. The spring breaker who was IDGAF about coronavirus has apologized. A spring breaker went viral last week for not giving a crap about the coronavirus during a television interview, has now apologized. Brady Sluder, a high school graduate and SoundCloud rapper from Milford, Ohio, became the face of young people not taking the pandemic seriously after appearing in a CBS News video filmed in Miami. Quote, "If I get corona, I get corona," Sluder said in the video. "At the end of the day, I'm not going to let it stop me from partying. We've been waiting for Miami spring break for a while. We are just out here having a good time. Whatever happens, happens." And you see, the big risk is that he could get an infection and probably be fine and then go on to infect thousands more people. And our economy is in crisis. It's shutting down. People are freaking out. Democrats fighting Republicans. Everything's going nuts. The last thing we need are morons going around getting sick and spreading the virus around. But dude made a legit apology. Mad respect, dude. Mad respect. They said the video came amid backlash against Florida beachgoers who continued to pack beaches, ignoring social distancing guidelines designed to stop the spread of the virus. On Monday, Sluder posted a public apology on his Instagram account, the Cincinnati Enquirer first reported. Sluder apologized for what he said in the video, saying, "I wasn't aware of the severity of my actions and comments." Check this out. He said, "I would like to sincerely apologize for the insensitive comment I made in regards to COVID-19 while on spring break. I wasn't aware of the severity of my actions and comments. I'd like to take this time to own up to the mistakes I've made and apologize to the people I've offended. Like many others, I have elderly people who I adore more than anything in this world and other family members who are at risk. And I understand how concerning this disease is for all of us. Our generation may feel invincible, like I did when I commented. But we have a responsibility to listen and follow the recommendations in our communities. I will continue to reflect and learn from this and continue to pray for our well-being. I deeply apologize from the bottom of my heart for my insensitivity and unawareness of my actions." There's actually a little bit more. He goes on and actually in the text portion of the post says a bit more about how we all make mistakes and stuff like this. I want to absolutely stress this is awesome. Everybody can make mistakes, and I'm willing to give people a second chance. And this actually is how you handle a learning moment. I remember when Roseanne when she said that offensive tweet, so they just destroyed her life? No, man, you make it a learning moment. You help people understand why we do and don't do things. Dude made a really dumb move and said, "I don't care, I'll do whatever I want." And then he realized it was a mistake. Why? I bet a bunch of people came down hard on him like, "Bro, that was stupid." And he probably started feeling bad like, "Oh man, why did I say that? I'm going to apologize." Thank you for apologizing, bro. I really appreciate that. And I hope this message resonates with a lot of other young people. Here's why I think it's important. We got another story. 17-year-old boy with coronavirus dies. Authorities say a 17-year-old boy who tested positive for the coronavirus has died, but it's not yet clear whether the virus was to blame. Now, I think it's fair to point out, I don't want to freak anybody out. It may well be that it was something else. But men, heed this warning. Andrew Cuomo said that right now they're down to about 15% of people infected being hospitalized. That means if 1,000 people get sick, they need 150 beds. Guess what? There's 8 million people in New York, man. It is mostly older people, but it does affect everybody. Between the ages of 20 and 54, that's 29% of those who are in the hospital. That's a big age bracket for sure. because then they start going smaller and smaller after that. And I think it's because of potential mortality rates. So we end up seeing more people in their 40s and 50s in the hospital than like 20 to 30, but it still is possible that you could be 17 years old and end up in the hospital. I want to read this story so that young people, if you're young or know people who are young, you get a sense of why it's so important. However, before I do, I got to give a shout out to Virtual Shield for one important reason. These are trying times, man. Everybody's taking major economic hits. Virtual Shield is helping me keep my business running. I don't normally do big promo spots, but Virtual Shield has always been there for me to help support the channel, so I'm going to shout them out. Check out hidewithtim.com to take the offer up from Virtual Shield. It's a virtual private network service. The easiest way to explain what it does is it's a simple layer of security for you as you browse the internet. When you go online, there are people who could be snooping. They might want to intercept some of your data. VPNs help protect against this stuff. So to a certain degree, they might stop government intrusions or just, hackers who want to snatch up your data and take your stuff. Go to Hide with Tim. They've got a 30% off promo. It's $3.49 per month. And check it out. The easiest way I explain it. You put a lock on your front door, but when has anyone ever kicked it in or broken in your house? They don't, right? But you still do. You still lock your windows at night, even though no one's really climbing through it. It's smart to have basic security, and Virtual Shield provides that. It's a virtual private network service. Hide with Tim, 30% off. And once again, man, everybody's getting hurt right now, during the economic slowdown. And so I'm eternally grateful to the sponsors that I do have, particularly Virtual Shield. They're my first sponsor, man. I really appreciate it. Let's read the story from ABC News. Los Angeles County health officials backtracked Tuesday on their announcement that a child died from coronavirus, saying it's possible the death was caused by something else. During their daily briefing, the county health department said the unidentified child from the city of Lancaster was among 4 new deaths. Hours later, after Governor Gavin Newsom had cited the death of the teenager as evidence the virus can strike anyone, the county issued a new statement. Though early tests indicated a positive result for COVID-19, the case is complex, and there may be an alternate explanation for this fatality. And the case will need evaluation by the U.S. CDC, the statement said. The important point I want to make sure is I want to be very, very fair. This may not be a COVID-related case. However, it's important to keep in mind you aren't invincible. Whatever may have happened with this kid, 17-year-old died, tested positive for coronavirus, it seems. We'll see how the story pans out, but they're not the only young person to have died or been hospitalized. Lancaster Mayor R. Rex Paris said a 17-year-old boy has been hospitalized with respiratory problems and died from septic shock, a reaction to a widespread infection that can cause dangerously low blood pressure and organ failure. Paris said the boy's father also has coronavirus and worked in a job where he has close contact with the public. The mayor said the boy may have had long-term health problems in the past, but was healthy recently. He said he doesn't doubt that the teen died from complications for COVID-19. We are the first city in the nation to lose a child, and that is unbearable to me. So I think we can break this down. The kid died from septic shock, but it sounds like it was a complication from COVID-19, from the coronavirus. A report last week by the CDC found no coronavirus deaths in the U.S. among people 19 and under. That age group accounted for less than 3% of all hospitalizations. As with many other communities, Lancaster, a Mojave Desert community of 170,000 north of LA, has been struggling to find tests and protective gear to deal with the virus. Paris said the city has ordered 100,000 test kits from Europe. Meanwhile, Newsom and others took issue with President Donald Trump's announcement on Tuesday that he wants the U.S. to be opened up and just raring to go by Easter, some 2 weeks away and far sooner than medical experts expect. The fast-spreading outbreak will begin to diminish. Noting the results are still pending for thousands of Californians who have taken the virus tests, the governor said it will take at least until May to determine if quarantine and testing measures have reduced the spread of the virus enough to consider modifying tough stay-at-home measures. I'll wrap it up with one simple point. Doctors are not economists. Economists are not doctors. And we need to hear from both. If the economy takes a major hit, people will die. Some people become depressed. Some people might take their own lives. That's horrifying. But many people will lose access to medicine. Many people will lose access to resources, food. And we're already seeing many of these hospitals struggle with not being able to pay for what they need now. So what do we get? We get a major stimulus. I think we need to take health first and foremost. Talk to the doctors. Fauci says that, it's probably too soon, but would be flexible. Donald Trump is a trade guy. So he's looking at this saying, I understand, but from an economic standpoint, the doctors don't get it. Trump's seen New York City in its worst, when the economy was trash and the city was collapsing. He's seen what happens when there's serious depressions and recessions. We got to understand it's not one problem we're facing right now. The coronavirus sparked an economic collapse. So the cure could potentially be worse than the disease. I take everything the doctors say. I listen to these people. They know better than I do. What about economists? We need to check what the risk is. So back to the main point. This dude who went out on spring break did the right thing, and he apologized for this, because you are not invincible, and we are facing a very large problem. So I hope this whole segment just shows you how serious it is. And I will. I was gonna end with one point. I got one more for you. I stated this earlier. New York has 8 million people. If 15% of those who get sick are hospitalized, that means New York, who has about 10,000 available beds right now, can only withstand around 70,000 people getting sick out of 8 million. And it's a novel virus rapidly spreading. You see why people are freaking out. They could run out of beds. And once they do, even young people will start dying. I'll leave it there. Thanks for hanging out. Stick around. I will be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. and I'll see you all then.